So me and a few of my homeboys were talking about a week ago, right before the holiday. Just random loose conversation about how our gaming habits have changed over the years. Now, most of these guys are in their early to mid 20s. I'm a bit older than that, so I can only share my experience and stuff like that. So when I talk and I tell them like how I deal with stuff, not so much from like an age standpoint, but just also from being a father and, you know, working the hours that I was working and stuff like that. It was always something different, you know what I mean? So I like to think that when I was talking about stuff, it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, we got a different perspective on it. And then when I seen my homie post his video about it, I was one of the people that he was comparing the stuff to. So just hear it out real quick. My earliest memories of playing video games was probably after the whole video game crash thing, where you can find like an Atari for dirt cheap. And I think that's what my mom and father probably did. That's probably what they did. Found a dirt cheap Atari and stuff, because nobody was playing that stuff at the time. And there weren't really any consoles out with the exception of the NES. And at the time, my mom couldn't really afford that stuff. But when she was able to afford it, once we got a hold of that NES show, it was on. And me and my brother, we were hooked. That's pretty much all I can say about that. We were hooked. And being 7, 8 years old or whatever, when you playing games, you know, you have nothing but time. You playing those games like all day, every day, like on the weekends when you're not in school, or if you're on Christmas break and stuff like that. So, you know, we had nothing but time. You got nothing but time, nothing but energy. But of course, you don't have the funds to support that habit. So you basically relying on someone else to fund that hobby. Fast forward into being a teenager. Now, being a teenager, let's say this around the time Sega Genesis was ending. You had the PlayStation out. You had the N64 was out. So now you had the time, you had the energy. But with me personally, I just wasn't really into the games like I was when I was a little kid. Reason being, I was more so into sports and girls, of course. So that took up the majority of my time. So the time that I had, I was spending, you know, trying to get the Mac right. You know what I mean? You know, doing my thing with the hooping, you know what I mean, and boxing and stuff. So of course that's what it was. Now fast forward into my 20s, I'd already had my first son. So, you know, I was brand new, trying to learn how to be a dad and all this other stuff at a relatively young age. I mean, I still had games and stuff like that. I always had a couple of consoles, man. I always did. That's just what my thing was. I always had a couple just in case I felt like playing them. But of course, trying to be a good parent and stuff like that, you don't really have. You had a little bit of time because I was working, but I wasn't working hours. I was working like now. I had a little bit of time, had a little bit of energy, and of course I could fund my habit, you know, my hobby a little more. But I just really wasn't into it because I was too focused on, you know, what I was doing. Now fast forwarding by today's standards, I mean, it's way more difficult, far difficult, because now I have 3 sons. You know what I mean? I don't have the time, because if you pull in 60-hour work weeks, who really feels like playing video games? You know, you don't have the time, you damn sure don't have the energy, and you got so much other stuff going on that you just really not really into it. So I mean, for those who can juggle all of it and do that without sacrificing one or the other, I commend these people for that, man. And you know, that's just what it is, man. That's just the life of a gamer and being busy as a gamer. So it just forced me to change my gaming habits. Like when I have the time, I'll play it. When I don't have the time, I don't force myself to. I just try to make it as pleasant of an experience as I can when I do have the time. It's just taking advantage of it and not just having a bunch of idle time to just fuck around and do nothing. So for all of those, man, parents and stuff like that that's out here juggling, you know, being a parent, being able to get your game on and stuff like that, trust me when I tell you, I know it's difficult. So I salute you, yo, real talk. So that's just the way I've had to change my gaming habits. I don't have all day to play video games like many of you. Like I said, my kids stay with me. I'm not a weekend warrior like a lot of parents are. So that's just pretty much what it is, man. Hopefully, you know, it's some food for thought. You do the dishes, y'all. I'm out. Peace.